Hey everyone, welcome to our webinar for tonight, Wanderlust Wednesday, Colombia Unbound. We're super excited to have you all join us. My name is Malena. I'm part of the Adventure Tripper team. We're an online marketplace for curated adventures with vetted guides. We offer 300 multi day end to end adventures across 30 plus countries and counting. And we are super excited to introduce our one of our new adventures that we have to Colombia. It's an incredibly popular destination, and I think it's just a gem, a hidden gem. So, yes, I would like to introduce to you guys Juliana. She's in Colombia right now, and she could tell us a little bit more about herself, and we could get started.
Thank you, Malena. Yes, I'm Juliana. I'm from Colombia. I started as a tour guide and now I'm an entrepreneur. And I'm so passionate about my country. So, I feel like the words are coming already out of my mouth because it's never enough of talking about how much I love my country and the wonders that we have here for everybody to see and to explore and to experience.
Amazing. Well, if you guys have any questions, please go ahead and you could put it in the comment section. And towards the end of the webinar, we'll be able to ask Juliana your questions. I'm hoping everyone is able to hear us correctly. If not, please also put it in the comment section if there is a problem. And yeah, we could go ahead and get started.
Okay.
Amazing, Juliana. What could you tell us a little about Colombia? Share about your personal experience in terms of adventure travel and what Colombia has to offer.
Yeah, Colombia is such a very diverse country, so it's hard for me to put everything together in one small place. So we have to. So people like to put together geographically. So we are in the north part of South America. So we are just below Panama, and so that means that we have the two oceans. We have the Atlantic Ocean, the Caribbean Sea, and then we have the Pacific Ocean, very different from each other, and especially in the Colombian area, like with different nature. Also, then we have the Andes, like with the high mountains, and then we have the Amazons. So we have 40% of Colombia's Amazons. People don't relate Colombia of being an Amazon country. Normally, because maybe they hear. Most people, when they hear about Colombia, they think of Cartagena, which I'm from, where I'm from, and it's lovely, and of course I love my town, but it's very different from other parts of the country. If we contrast that with the Amazon and the Amazon River, which also we have part of it. So it's in terms of adventure, is for me, like the other day I was talking to a friend and she said, like, when are you gonna go for vacation next time? I said, oh, I still have so many places in Colombia to go. And even myself, that I've been working in the industry already for 15 years, there's still like a lot of places that I still like to discover, and that is still lovely. People tell me, like, why don't you go abroad and like go to other countries? That why, like, if I go, I can go to the desert, I can go to the jungle, I can go to the beach with the like crystal clear, or I can go to the dive in the ocean, in the Pacific Ocean. It's like, we have it all. Like, I'm very proud of saying that we are very diverse, and you can experience very different things just within Colombia.
Amazing. And so, if you could pick a couple things that could be on your bucket list for Colombia, yes, maybe
That's
now that
hard.
you're mentioning that it's so
Mhm.
diverse, maybe one type of activity that you could do in terms of each area, for example, or if there's something that really stands out for you, like what would be the one thing to do?
Yes. So there's well, there's so many, but let's just pick the first one that comes to mind. So there's one that it's called San Jose el Guaviare, and it's beautiful because it's located in the Amazon area. And let me show you some pictures. Maybe let's see if I can. Let's go to Google. Let me look. So this place is special because you have I think I can present and share my screen. So look, in this place, you have these rivers that have these plants that when it's the rainy season, then the river goes through the plants and looks like the river gets into these colors, like in green and in pink. So also you have like this ancient, this is one of the most ancient areas of the Amazon where the people came. And then you have this huge petroglyphs, like paintings on the rock that are thousands of years old. Let me show like Cerro Azul. Um, so you have this huge walls that are all painted. Maybe you can take a look here. Maybe it's just too small for you there, but it's like very beautiful, like also in terms of the nature, in terms of the people. Also it's a great mix of like the Amazon traditions and also from the Andes and from the capital. Okay, that's at one destination. Another destination that people have to go is that Medellin. So people like, it's like a new trendy destinations right now. Is getting the most like the city that is most visited by tourists in Colombia, but it's still not like overcrowded. And it's in the right, and it's amazing because it's a city with a great history that comes, like, yeah, let's not lie to us, like, Colombia have a history and Pablo Escobar and all that, and comes from Medellin. And then coming from being one of the most dangerous city in the world to be one of the most innovative city in the world right now. It's very safe, and it's like the capital of reggaeton and the capital of like culture, and it's like a very vibrant city. So you can visit some like also very interesting social projects to and to understand how this transformation is going on from the word and from the mouth of the people that have been making those changes, and like see like the just like the future happening just in front of your eyes. And it's so something that I love about Colombia is how hopeful we are for the future. Sometimes you go to places that are about the past, and like, oh, we did this and we were great. Right now it's like Colombia, we are becoming great. So, and it's about like we are building this together, and that's like you get just contagious with that hope. um Also, another destination that I love is the Pacific Coast. The Pacific Coast, you have one of the most biodiverse places on Earth. So you have like the jungle, very dense jungle. You have the river with the biggest amount of water in the world. So, and like in the short time, in a short stream, but is and then that gets into the Pacific Ocean that is very wild, very rough, like big wave. And all those two words come together, and you can be in an eco lodge with a beach just for yourself, like kilometers long, where you can just walk and walk between the jungle and the ocean. And at some time parts of the year you can come and see the whales jumping, because we say that the whales are so proud of being Colombia, so that they come every year to have their kids, so their kids are Colombian too. So every year from July to October, you see the whales having their kids in the shores of the Colombian coast. So the big jump whales. So that's also great adventure, great destination. Of course, Cartagena, my town, to feel like trapped in time. With the colonial city, the nice architecture. I don't know, like maybe I've mentioned already too many destinations, and just to pick like the first one that came to mind. But it's always something great to discover, and it's always something for everyone.
Amazing. No, and like you said, the thing is, since there's so many, it's so varied and so diverse, it's really hard just to pick one. But I'm guessing as well, like, does it depend in terms of the time of the year that you're visiting, that you would go to a certain area, or when is the best time to visit?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we are in the equator. That means that we don't have seasons as you have it up there. So as the seasons here is more like rainy season and not rainy season, or like dry season. So, and the temperature changed from the altitude. So we have from very high, sorry, I don't know in feet, but like the highest point of Colombia is 5,700 meters, which is already very high. So, and it's and that mountain is located next to the Caribbean Sea. So you can see from the Caribbean Sea, which is like warm water, like very, and you can see snow up in the mountains, which is very like mind blowing. But and then you have, for example, right now I'm in Bogota, in the capital, and in Bogota it's always it's cold. So right now it's like chill. That's why I'm wearing a jacket right now. But it's like it depends on when you go, and also like depending on the rain, you can get certain kind of nature phenomenon. For example, the river that I showed you, where like the colors and all that, that happens in the west side of Colombia. That only happens also from July to October, which is the rainy season. So you might get rain, and some people said, oh yeah, we have to adjust it, but then the nature just bloom in certain ways that is beautiful. Or if you go to the Amazon, the level, like during rainy season, the level of the river just go up, so you can go in a canoe through the forest. So, and the canoe, and you see like the big logs, the big like trees, and you go through them, because it's just like the rivers just float over the forest, which is an amazing. But then if you go in the dry season, you can see it's more likely, of course, when you're in real nature. There's no guarantee of observation any kind of animal, but it's easier because the animals goes to the current, comes to the water, and so it's easier to look at them. So like for me, it's just like each season have their own like magic things,
Yes.
and it's like about adjusting and knowing what to expect and what's great about this season when you go in there and making the most of that.
Amazing. And for example, I think a lot of our viewers as well are very interested. We have a very big hiking community. How
Mhm.
is hiking in Colombia? Is it like one of the big activities, or would you say it's maybe another? I know cycling is also like Colombia is very well known for cycling.
Yes.
Um, yeah, how about the activities?
No, hiking is a big deal. We have so many national parks that are so different. So it depends of what kind of hiker you are, from the hardcore to like the climbers, or like, like maybe just one day hike and coming back to a nice comfortable hotel, or maybe having a multiple day hiking, sleeping in camps, like for hikers, as options as big as the country is, right? So it's depending on how comfortable you want to be, right? So, and how deep you want to go into nature. And so there's many treks all around Colombia that you can do. For example, there's one that is very famous that is called the Lost City Trek, that is for 4 days. And that Lost City Trek, you sleep on camps and you have your group, and at the end you reach to a very special ancient civilization, like the where an ancient civilizations were located, the Taironas. And so you feel like it's very special, like you are in the terrace, and you feel the power of the place, and you meet the indigenous along the way. So it's a very beautiful trek to do. Of course, it's hot. So on that trek is hot because it's located in down a low altitude. So be ready to sweat on that one. So my recommendation, if you're doing that trek, is just get used to your own smell, get used to yourself, like get to know yourself, and get ready to be wet in your sweat all of the time. And if you're okay with that, then you're gonna have an amazing time.
Yeah.
If you're more into, what, like I'm like more cold treks, then we have the mountains. So you can do the Los Nevados trek also for many days. Los Nevados, where we have snow peaks, snow mountains, and you can also sleep in the house of farmers. That was a great day. Or we have like the 1 day thing. So for example, outside of Bogota, there's national parks like Chingaza or Chorrera, to see the frailejones, which is paramo, which is a very special kind of ecosystem that is only unique to the high altitudes of the Andes, which is let me show you, because this is something that is frailejon. Mhm. So this is what the frailejón looks like. Let me show you a picture. So, and yeah, this is how they look like. And it's just, these plants are so important for the whole world, because what they do is that they capture the water from the atmosphere, and then they retain it as a sponge, and then when it's dry they release it. So that's what keeps the water levels always in the same. And Colombia is very high into terms of rivers, and we are safe, like in case of this water gets complicated. There's a thing with the climate crisis and all that. Colombia, we're good in water, and like, but also depending on this kind of ecosystem that is keeping us safe and is creating all our rivers around Colombia.
Amazing. And talking about, I guess that's very like the sustainable side. Are there, and I know that's such a big trend, and you were talking about, looking into the future and what Colombia is doing. Is there also like sustainable adventure travel? Is there sustainable tourism that's, maybe big right now in Colombia?
Yes, that's a great question. And we are, as you when you started, is that Colombia is like the hidden gem, like we have to be honest, and we are like the new players on the ground, right? Like we're not like a old destination that we have been doing tourism for a very long time. And that is a good thing for us because we can learn from the mistake of the others. So what really we want about tourism, so right now from our tourism board and how policy and how we are imagining the tourism that we want is a tourism that is sustainable and that is contributing to our communities. So there's many lodges where you go that works with solar panels, that they're very clear on their policies, like there's no plastic. So for example, when you go to the national parks, you're not allowed to bring water like in plastic, and that you can refill your water. So it's still like a big path to go. So I'm gonna be honest, it's not that we're like ready on it, we're still working on it. And that's why I'm so excited and so passionate about it, because also you as a tourist, when you come, you can be part of this like construction of the tourism history in Colombia, on choosing this kind of adventures that we have for example at Adventure Tripper, that we have care like so much, that are sustainable, that take care like in the communities and all that. So choosing right is also very important to making this construction very important and sustainable and that lasting time.
Yes, and it's something so important for our future, and I think for lots of our customers, it's yeah, I think something that is always on top of our mind, and we're working towards that as well. So it's great to hear that Colombia is also putting their foot forward and starting to do their tourism as well, looking for these initiatives. Amazing. And so, for someone that's planning their first trip to Colombia, what advice would you offer them in terms of like preparation, expectations, things to like look for?
Yes. Well, Colombia, the first thing is Colombia is very big. So, and it's very, and the landscape is a lot of mountains. So, just for you to understand, like the Andes come as one mountain range. And then when it gets to Colombia, I divide it into three mountain ranges. So that means that we have all the country, like mountain up, mountain down, mountain up, mountain down. So if you wanna like cover a lot of Colombia, you have to take a lot of flights, because when people look in the map, they said, "Oh, those things are very close, just like through 2 hours away from each other." And then when you click on drive, then it was like, "Oh, that's a 10-hour drive," right? Because you just have to go all the mountain down and all the mountain up, and then like roads that are good conditions. We have very good roads, very good road system around Colombia, but are small, like only one line. I don't know how you call it, like
One ways, yeah, yeah,
exactly. So sometimes traffic, and we have the big trucks, so that make traffic make it be a little bit slower. So
yeah.
normally you have to fly from region to region if you want to experience like this different types. Also, another option that you can do is to address Colombia in different regions. So I'm going to use this question to share you a video with you to understand how we divide Colombia in different regions.
Super.
So and also very beautiful, because this video was created by our tourism board, and I think they made a great work. So okay, and then we can talk about it. This is the Caribbean, where I told you that Cartagena is located. For example, the Caribbean. See, this is the place to live. This is Cartagena. This is the desert. This is the Lost City Trek, the one that we talked about. This is the Pacific, the one that I told you about, that is very diverse. This area is called Nuki, beautiful national parks. The only way to get there is by flying, so it's very isolated, beautiful nature. Colombia is a great country for birds. We have the country with the biggest diversity of birds in the world. The food in that area, oh, amazing. This is the area where Medellin is located. The surroundings, the coffee region, coffee plantations. We are so known for our great coffee. This is where Bogota is located, the capital. Amazing. That's Villa de Leyva. This is the Frailejones that I told you about. This kind of nature that is high in the mountains. Rafting is a big deal here. This is San Agustin National Park, archaeological park. Beautiful. And this is what I meant, 40% of Colombia is Amazon. So yeah, this is, oh my god, I see this video and I feel so moved because I feel so in love with it. And so the idea is, even you can take one region and explore it deeply as it would be one country. So for example, you can stay only in the Caribbean if you want to do a more sustainable, more slow travel. So you can come to Cartagena, for example, and then exploring the Caribbean, and then visiting and doing the Lost City Trek, and then doing visiting the indigenous communities, staying in lodges, visiting like also the vibrant city of Barranquilla with the carnival and all that. So like only one region, or you can do that also in the surrounding of Medellin, staying in the farms, like living the nightlife, reggaeton party and all that. So just like you can also stay in one region and just staying, and or just crossing and flying from one region to the other.
And I'm guessing flying is also quite accessible. Like
Yeah.
flights within the country is, yeah, quick and easy.
Yeah. No, we
Yes.
have, like, since we say that here in Colombia we went from the donkey to the jet because it's like it's the way that we locals move, so it's
Yeah.
not considered as a luxury. So for example, people live it in the Pacific coast since they don't have roads, because jungle is so dense that it was not being feasible to do road without damaging the nature. So people, locals, use their flights to connect to the cities. So you can find cheap flights for, I don't know, $50, $80, and round trip. So it's fine.
Oh, amazing. And I was, yeah, just seeing the video as well. I kept saying, "Oh, I would like to go there." No, 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 I would like to go there. It just looks like you said, it looks so amazing and so diverse and so different. And actually, Suzanne, that's joining us as well. She says we would love to explore the massive and Amazon regions. So
Well, welcome, welcome. We're more than happy to welcome you here.
yeah, amazing. Yes, for example, something else I was thinking about, like in terms of, I know Colombia is super known for their coffee. In terms of the coffee region, anything that you could tell us about, like how you could explore the coffee region, if it's something that you could do, like I don't know, like a wine tasting trip that we have that we know about here, or is there something like that for coffee over there, or what?
Oh, yes. Coffee is a science, and you can go as professional as you want. And we take coffee here very seriously. You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. Here in Colombia, coffee, we're very well known and Colombian. Like, we take care, for example, every time a coffee, exportation container is going out, there is a federation association that is checking, like taking samples of the coffee, checking that all the coffee coming out of Colombia is good quality coffee, because that it's our image. Good Colombian coffee is good. So there is like this Colombian institute that is paid by the government, just controlling that no bad coffee is going out of Colombia. But then the reality, because I'm going to be honest, so when you come, you don't experience that. Sometimes we don't drink the best coffee here,
Yes.
right? So, what sadly has happened in many other places, as you know, coffee is a plant, and not all the beans are perfect, right? So the best is very usual that the best beans get exported, and then we drink like the leftovers of the coffee. So
Yeah.
this is something that is changing in the last 5 years. So it's growing, and also this industry is investing to educate more like the local palate to drink better coffee. But we have very nice experience where you go to the coffee farms and you experience how delicate and how professional we take those process, and the baristas. And because to have a great cup of coffee, there's a huge process before that, from the bean, from the plant, from the seed. If you plant, what are the plants that are surrounding that coffee tree? So it have to be in shadow, and it's like also after that, when you harvest, you have to ferment it, you have to wash it in certain, and depending on which method you'd use, also tastes different. So if you're a great coffee lover, you will love coming to Colombia. Maybe in some hotels, if you go to a cheap hotel or that, or if you go to a local house, you might not get the best coffee that you imagine. But if you go to the coffee farm, and if you're like also very nice coffee shops in the cities where you can get really great specialty coffees, coming from single origin, coming from single farm. So right now, this is a new movement about not like blending the coffees. So because you have, when the coffee come from certain altitude or from certain process, they have certain taste. So when you have like the single origin one, you can taste more this difference. And also very interesting to think when you drink coffee is that people normally in the States, when they think of coffee, they think of bitter, right?
Mhm.
And bitter is a coffee that is too dark roasted. And good quality coffee is not meant to be dark roasted, because it's like you're burning it and then you're not tasting it. So a good quality coffee, it should be more similar to a tea, right?
Mhm.
In that area of taste. So it's more even sour. It's more into the sour taste than into the bitter taste. So I love it, and it's a passion right now. Like when I get it's one of those things when you drink a good one, then it's hard to go back. So right now it's just okay. I don't drink. I even like here in Colombia, we're not a big heavy drinkers. we drink every day, but we drink something that we call tintos, which is a very small cup of coffee. We don't drink those the mugs that you eat that you drink in the States. No, no, that for us is like, too much, like when you have something that is good, you have a little. So we have like this small cup of coffees that are like great quality, and we like to also to enjoy it.
Lovely. No, it sounds amazing as well because it's one of those things that you also have to learn about. And
Mhm.
yeah, it's great to know that there's also that place that you're able to learn a bit more about coffee and be able to experience the whole, yeah, that side of Colombia. Amazing. And just to go back into adventure, like the trips and stuff, I know that you mentioned there's hikes everywhere, maybe
Mhm.
cycling as well, the whitewater rafting that we were seeing on the
Mhm.
video. Is there something that you say that you need to train for, or is it like for all, physical abilities, ages? Is it like, can it be like towards families, or is it more towards, you know, older people? What would you recommend? Or yeah,
No, it depends. Like there's always something for everyone. There is adventure. The word adventure is very tricky. What is adventure? For some people, just coming to Colombia is an adventure itself, right?
yeah,
Even if they just only stay in the city, right? Because like adventure is when you feel that you come out of your comfort zone. So, and then there's in terms of sports, there's a level for everyone. So as I said, you can do low level treks until the very hiking climbing treks into very high thousands of meters high. And also in terms of biking, like for Colombia is a great biking country. We have a lot of Tour de France with like winners, and then we are very proud. And when you here in Colombia, when you soccer is a big deal. So
yeah,
when the Colombia national team play, everybody wears the national uniform. And also when there's the cyclists, our cyclists are in the Tour de France or Vuelta a España. So you see the people watching it on the televisions, on the stores, on the streets. So it's a big deal. And for people that like it like that, so you can do very long trade, like very long itineraries just based on bikes, on route bikes. But also there's like small ones that maybe just for the day going downhill, for example, in a easy downhill where you don't need that much strength in certain parts of the country. So, for example, you can do that outside of Santa Marta or outside of Bogota. This downhill biking, whitewater rafting. Also, it's in different levels depending on the river that you choose. Some are just like staying in the river and like admiring the landscape. And to be honest, you don't have to do much. It's more like contemplating. More others are more like you need to be focused on listening what your guide is saying, because otherwise you will flip. And if you flip also, it's okay. Like you will be amazed how prepared also we are in terms of security, which we were just doing a fam trip not so long time ago. And then someone from Canada, from an agency, he said this is the best security preview that I've ever had in a rafting before. Like how have you have to get if you get into the water, which position you have to be, like what to expect, who's gonna save you, what you have to do, like all that. So you have to be, so you can be released and fine, knowing that you are with people that knows what they're doing in case the river gets complicated. So that also is very make you enjoy the experience even more.
yes, perfect. Well, thank you. Is there any questions from our audience that you would like to ask Juliana? You could put them in our comments, and we could ask those questions as well. Um, and meanwhile, if someone is thinking about a question, is there anything that you feel that we've missed, Juliana, that you would like to tell us about, like in terms of Colombia, the culture, food, or I know music? You were mentioning about reggaeton. My brother just went to Colombia and he had just been in Brazil, and Brazil's beautiful and everything. But when he's a reggaeton fan, so he was like, "Oh, finally, I could hear my music again." So, and as well, Pretty, our founder, when she went, she was just saying like people just start dancing on the street and playing soccer on the street, and just an amazing culture as well. So is there anything that you could tell us as well about all of that?
No, yes, music is part of us. We move with rhythm, the way we walk. It's part of who we are, and it's not for free that our artists are right now, like Karol G and Maluma and J Balvin and all that are up there. It's not just for nothing. It's just that comes from a culture that is very deep into the music that we have. And so, for example, now that I was seeing that you have the light out, and for example, here that we don't have seasons, in Christmas where I'm from, it's hot, right? So we have Christmas, and it's funny because we have the Christmas tree and we put like foam to make it look like it's snow, but it's, of course, it's like um, um, 40, 50 degrees outside, like in Fahrenheit. So it's very hot outside. So and then what we do is we dance. Actually, we learn how to dance on Christmas and New Year's Eve here in Colombia. Just like a nice cultural hint is that um, here, Christmas and New Year's Eve you celebrate it with your family, but it's a big deal, so it's a big party. So we party until 3 or 7 a.m. in the morning. So it's like salsa and merengue and reggaeton. And when you're a child, sometimes you don't want to look like you don't want to like dance, but then your aunt and your grandmother takes you out and make you dance. And then at some point at some Christmas you start enjoying it too, and then you become a dancer yourself. So that's a big deal. On soccer, of course, like you can see soccer everywhere, and it's a very passionate, it's a big deal.
Amazing. Yes. Actually, we do have a question from Darcy. What would you recommend to a group looking for a mix of healing, relaxation, and activity? Cycling or chill river exploring? Yeah.
Then I would recommend going into one of the like the nature areas that we have. So, for example, in the Pacific, as I mentioned, so you can go do like stay in the lodge and maybe having like walks on the beach, for yourself and think, or as a group to these sessions to talk. But then at the same time, like doing kayaking in the rivers and doing treks in the jungle to have it to keep it more active. Another option, recommendation is to go to the Amazon. Is also a great idea. Or even, I don't know, like for me, healing and relaxations is also something that you can do during the treks. So, for example, I did the Lost City trek last year with my father, and it was very special because like the treks takes around 5 to 7 hours walking every day. And like this treks the treks are is long but not very demanding as physically. So it's like you're meditating, and for me it was a connection with my father, right? So like we were doing this trek together, and like at the end going to the camp, sitting together when you're tired, and you have that beer that you feel, okay, this is the best beer ever, like I don't know what else, but that beer after a trek is the best beer that you could ever had. And so that's a great idea. Or so yeah, this is also many different things that you can do, like cycling also at the same time during, for example, between Bogota and Santanderes, also a great route for cycling, and nice lodges, nice hotels where we love to work more with locally owned small hotels that you can feel like the chill, and that you can feel like how the vibe of, because the small towns here in Colombia, very slow. Like if you think of Latinos of going slow pace and taking the time, then imagine if you go to a town, like times goes in a different way. So then is when you really realize that this times is very relative.
Amazing. And for example, in Colombia, is there anything like in terms of like what I thought about when with the healing relaxation, like for example, um, some rituals that maybe like your ancestors did, or like in terms of herbs or I don't know, like I think in Mexico, like for example, the temazcales that they, that you
Uh-huh.
go into, or the like clay, um, I don't know,
Ye-
Mayan clay or something. Is there anything like that that
Yes, in the
Colombia?
Pacific coast, we have a big Afro heritage, and there we do the bathing in herbs.
Mm,
So we like make like bathtubs, but very artisanals, and put in different herbs, and that preparation is depending for each person. So like you meet with the doctor, and the doctor talks to you not only in terms what it hurts, but about what you feel, about what you like expecting, what part of type of like area of your life, like what stage of your life you are, and then he prepares a special like combination of herbs, and then you get take a bath into those herbs. That's a big deal. Also in the massive and in the Amazon, with that we have ayahuasca. You call it, we call it
yeah.
yahe,
Okay.
which is not for everyone. I have to say it, and I'm not making that's. I would not say it in you put it in your bucket list. That is something very special and very unique that you have to do it only when you feel that you're prepared for that. So if you're interested, you can research more about it because it's a very different topic, and it's is actually when you go to the traditional to when you go to the communities, to the indigenous communities, they call it medicine. So we're taking medicine. That's how they call it, to the yahe and ayahuasca, and it's meant to heal your thoughts, and it's meant to heal also your life, and your to connect you with the other life that you had. So yeah.
So very diverse and also very cultural and so
Hmm.
ancestral, and it sounds amazing too.
Hmm.
Amazing. Yes, Suzanne was just saying, oh, the only time I drink beer is after a trek. The best. Yes, I
Yeah.
think we all agree. Amazing. I don't know if anyone else has any questions. Um, yes, or anything else that you would like to add, Juliana? Um, yes, I.
No, it's like well, there's nothing. That's not something that I love to talk, but we need to talk because I know there's a question that many people make me, and then it's is it safe to come, right? You know, like we have during the 80s, and you know Pablo Escobar times and all that, and so and my answer right now is yes, it is safe to come, you know, in the cities, as any big city. So for example, Bogota is a 12 million habitant city, is a huge city, and is New York or any LA, if you go to certain areas, you know, you might feel like, oh, this is uncomfortable, right? And you can tell by the vibe. So but in the touristic areas, and so you're gonna feel safe, you're gonna see everybody walking on the streets. So my recommendation is have the basic precautions, you know, like know where your stuff are when you're in a packed place, like have your hand, like your cell phone where you know what it is, you know, like those basic things. But it's not like someone is going to come with a gun and something like that. No, kidnap, no, nothing like that is going to happen. And you can be very, you can feel like everybody's walking outside, everybody's very open, we're very welcoming. So we like to talk, we have to welcome people. So that's there's like as always, I have also to be there's a part of Colombia, it's Colombia being so huge and so big, there's a part of Colombia that is still like complicated, but it's not the area that we will take you. And also that's why I also recommend you to come with us. We're adventure trippers, so we can guide you to the best places and to the best adventure, and you can feel that it's everything, that you would never have to worry or even think that you're in an unsafe place.
Amazing.
Susan said that she felt very safe. Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Yes. Amazing. Yes. And Loretta has another question as well. I'm going to Cartagena in January. What other place would be good to visit to fly for a weekend?
Ooh, that's depending of like if you want another city, you can fly to, for example, to Medellin, for example, and visit and enjoy all this vibe of the new upcoming city and Comuna Tres and all that. But if you want, for example, more nature, I would recommend driving to Santa Marta area and visit the Tayrona Park and that surroundings. It's a 4 hour drive, so for a weekend is perfect. Or you can fly to Bucaramanga and the Santanderes area. um, that is also very nice area there for nice small towns like Barichara and San Gil. So yeah, it depends like what you're into the mood, and there's many different weekend options that you can have from Cartagena.
And is it something that maybe she could plan at the moment, like, or is it better to plan like far ahead? For example, if this is in January, would it be something that you would need to look at right now, or maybe just seeing how they feel while they're in Cartagena, maybe then take that decision?
Well, to be January is a high season, so mind the flights is going to be more expensive if you book it in last minute thing. So if
Okay.
she wants to flight, then it's going to be complicated. Or so also if she if going to Santa Marta, she's there's no flight involved, then you can do it more spontaneously. But anyway, like since it's high season, if you want to have a nice hotel, a nice lodge or something, I would recommend for that season specifically to maybe book a bit in advance. People from the north, from North America, January very cold, and we have in the heat here, so people want to escape. So that's why like it's high season here.
Season. Yes, amazing. Well, Darcy has actually a really interesting question as well. What considerations are there for wildlife, in particular, maybe dangerous and scary snakes in the rivers? Or I saw like the jaguar.
The
What was
jaguar.
jaguars? Yes.
Yeah. Yes, I'm not gonna lie. Yes, we do have poisonous snakes and frogs, and one of the most dangerous frogs in the world is located here in Colombia. We never had an incident with them. So as long as okay, if you're in the city, if you're in Bogota, Cartagena, Medellin, you're never gonna find them, right? Like picture yourself like these cities are very vibrant, big cities, skyscrapers, like big cities, modern cities, so far from the nature. But if you decide, okay, either like I'm scared of snake and I still want to go into the jungle and all that, is that you're gonna be fine if you hear to your guide. Is that exactly, be aware where you're dealing with. So your guide is going to be telling you what to do, what not to do. For example, in the Amazon area we have anacondas, right? So anacondas actually are not very dangerous. They're so big, and they're very slow. So there is no attack of anacondas, or also jaguars. To be honest, I was in the Amazon for 10 days looking for the jaguar. I was horse riding 8 hours a day looking for the jaguars and for the jaguar, and I couldn't see it. Next day, I fly back home and I said, okay, I'm sad. I couldn't see the jaguar. They sent me a picture how the jaguar just sleeping in front of the like a group of tourists with the mom with the baby, and said, okay, she didn't want me to see it. And then we saw the tram cameras, and I was walking, and then 5 minutes, like 3 minutes after that, the jaguar was walking. So she knew I was there, and she just didn't want it to be seen. And jaguars, in specifically, are very cautious from humans. They're not coming closer. We are being, and to be honest, like we as humans have been a threat for so long for the animals that they're not coming after you. They're gonna only harm you if they really if they really feel in a threat.
Mm.
But otherwise, if they see you, they might fly or go away. So the idea is to, like, you will have your local guide. Your local guide will tell you what is the best way to behave in order to see the animal. So if you have to stand still, like maybe so they don't feel a threat from you, so they don't go away, and in that area, so that would be like normally the basic recommendations. But not really, nothing to scare. Like we have been working so long, and so many people in the coming to the jungles, and I think that what people scare the most is the mosquitoes, to be honest. Bring a good repellent, or even my recommendation is not bring a good repellent, is buy local repellents, because I
Mm.
don't know, like, to be honest, I don't know if they're like kind of mosquitoes, but I feel like our local repellents work better with them, and it's specifically like the one from that specific town. So that would be like the animal that people I think would be more scared of.
Yes. Amazing. Okay, so I think maybe just to finish off, if you could tell us maybe your personal favorite adventure activity destination in Colombia, that would be great.
I don't know. It's like, oh my God, this is a hard question. My personal favorite. Well, I'm gonna say the Lost City because of that personal experience that I had with my father. That I felt like our relationship and the bonding that we had was so special. But okay, it was just me, like me and father. My father, he couldn't. He for him was exhausting, the walk, so he couldn't talk a lot. So for me, was just the two of us, like walking for 6 hours. Not, and he said, "Don't talk to me because then I would need, like, I have the need of answering you."
Yeah.
So, and for me, it was very special because, like, it was for me, my father was always the strong one, the one that could do something. And that moment, I felt like stronger than my father, and slowing the pace for him and going with him. So that was a very special one for me. But yeah, that's just, and I invite you to bring, like, for me, travel is also depending how you come with. So be sure that you bring your most loving ones to Colombia so you can exchange, you can talk about what you see, about what you learn, and share those experience. And I know that also makes the experience way better.
Yes, I think the big part of Adventure Tripper as well is the community that we build. And like you said, I think a trip isn't a trip until you live it with your community, with your people, with your family, with your loved ones, or your friends, and that's what really makes the trip special. And I think just maybe even achieving doing that trek, for example, with your father, and achieving that together is also such a special experience, and it's amazing to be able to have those opportunities. So yes, I invite everyone as well, to find your to bring along your community and go explore Colombia, because everything that you shared today, Juliana, was beautiful and amazing and super exciting. I loved every part of it, and just the different regions and everything that you're able to explore sounds so, so nice. And I think hopefully everyone that joined us today also is leaving with this special feeling of wanting to go explore and visit Colombia.
I know it will. So I'll be here to welcome you all.
Thank you so much. And if there is nothing else from everyone that's joined, I would like to thank you guys as well for joining us. And if you have any questions, please reach out. We would love to answer them or find that perfect trip for you. I think Juliana would be able to, yeah, create a beautiful and amazing trip depending on what you're looking for, and yeah, what you would like to experience. Thank you so much, everyone.